Good afternoon and welcome to SUTV Live. The international break is over and once again the focus returns to the Championship. Sheffield United start the day 3 points clear at the top of the table. Birmingham are the latest team to challenge their impressive home record. 4 games at Bramall Lane this season, 4 wins. This afternoon the Blades are chasing 5 from 5. For match pass information and broadcasting regulations, go to sufc.co.uk. This is SUTV Live. Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome to our studio here in the heart of Bramall Lane. Already fans trickling into the stadium. For the first time in over a month, the Blades are back on home soil to defend their 100% record in the Championship this season. In the studio for today's game, alongside me, I'm delighted to welcome Carl Asaba and once again, Jack O'Connell for the second time this season. Jack, great to have you with us. You brought goals with you on your last appearance. Hopefully a win this time.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. A bit nervous. I'd rather play than watch, but really looking forward to it.
You're becoming a regular now with us.
I hope so.
Carl, great to have you with us as well. We know you've been doing your stuff on radio comms over the last month, but we get the pleasure of your company, so great to have you back with us.
Yeah, thanks. I just feel like I'm going to be the whipping boy as normal, bullied.
Never, Carl. You always bring the charisma.
Brilliant.
And we're hoping that Sheffield United bring the charisma this afternoon because we have had a 2-week international break. The Blades were on fire, fellas, before that, leading into it. 3 points clear at the top of the table. Jack, you know better than the rest of us. You mix with your teammates week in, week out. Did that break come at a good time to just refresh minds and bodies that weren't involved, or was it a bad time?
I think it's all about the individual. I think if you're Ryan Brewster and you've just scored 2 goals on the international, I think you're coming into it with confidence. But I think me as a player killed momentum, and I didn't really like it. But that's probably I didn't play international football, so it's good for the players who aren't involved because they get to go and rest as well.
Well, this is a question then that applies to both of you because these international breaks would come on usually 3-4 times during the course of the season. If you weren't called up to represent your country, Carl, what was it like? I guess it became a bit of a ghost town for certainly a week at least.
For me, it was an Xbox fest, you know, but it was difficult training as well because there wasn't many heads about, and it was mainly just trying to get on top of your weights program or, you know, get over any niggles that you were, you know, me especially always carrying a niggle, so it was handy. But I just think that the boys will have been upset because they were on such a roll. They were believing they could beat anyone, and they would have wanted to carry the momentum through.
Let's take a look at the number of players that have been away over the international break. 11 in total for Sheffield United. I mentioned to Carl there, Jack, that I imagine it becomes a bit of a ghost town. When you've got effectively an entire first team away, this place must become very different.
It does, and you know, like you've got loads of players there on the international break, but I've been in the building, and there is literally about 10 players in the building, and there's about 4 players training, so it does become difficult, and I'm sure the lads will be willing to get back today.
It's a great testament, though, to the squad that Hecky's put together, Carl, that you can have 11 players away on international duty because it reflects on what you're doing domestically.
Exactly. The boys are getting rewarded for their performances, and it's good to see that they're getting the acknowledgement for their performances. So, you know, it's good. It will spur everyone on that you play well in this team, you get noticed. You know, there's talk of big clubs looking at players and they're getting international recognition as well, so it's wonderful.
A fortnight since we last saw the Blades in action, it was a victorious day at Preston North End, which lifted the Blades to top of the table by 3 points clear of the rest. Let's remind you of that table coming into today's game. 3 points clear of Norwich. Reading perhaps the surprise runners early on, Carl.
Yeah, I think the Luton away match was massive for the team because Luton will ask such a difficult set of questions, which our team are technically gifted. It's normally hard to answer, but they stood up to the Luton match. They came away, they got a really good point, and I think they've taken such belief, and now they just think they can beat any other team.
Whenever you were playing on the field, Jack, and we hear it from Billy and the rest of the boys now, this stage of the season, we don't take any notice of that league table. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to take it game by game, but I'm looking at the fixtures for October. I think it's a massive month, especially with the World Cup around the corner, so I think the players will take it game by game, yeah.
Let's take a look at the form guide coming into today's game for the Blades. Those are just the last 5 games, but the only defeat this season, chaps, was opening weekend against Watford. You've gone through a month now, the whole of September on the road, not a single goal conceded. I'll start with you, Jack, as a defender. Give us an idea, in this league particularly, how difficult is that to do and how impressive is it to do it at this stage of the season?
It's really difficult. I mean, we've always struggled when we went to Preston, and I think when I was watching that game, I was thinking, this is really good. You know, we haven't conceded a goal since Luton, and that's really, really tough to do in this league. So yeah, I think the defenders will be buzzing. And
Carl, goals going in at both at the top end as well as you would like. It becomes a lot easier for a striker if you know at the other end you're keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah, of course. There's less pressure on you, and the emphasis of you missing a chance, isn't it? You know, it's not magnified that we just missed this, then we concede. You're getting chances. The team's playing so well, and I think for me, the defence are just so solid. Wes is doing so well. The back five are just wonderful, but the competition for the places up front, people are coming in needing to score to get on the bench. You know, it's a wonderful place at the moment.
Yeah, and you factor into the equation as well the injuries that we've had to deal with at the start of the season, especially down that left flank, and to still be going on the road week in, week out, Jack, and not conceding any. I mean, at one point at Luton, even Wes had to leave the pitch.
I think that's one of the most impressive things, is that we actually haven't had a back five that's been consistent all season, and we're still grinding out results away from home. And I was looking around the physio room this morning, and there was 7 left-footers on the physio bed. So, I mean, the gaffer's done unbelievable with the squad he's got available.
Absolutely. Well, let's, without further ado, take a look at the starting 11 for today's game then for Sheffield United. Following that international break, one name definitely missing is that of defender Anel Amahodic, who picked up a thigh injury whilst away on international duty. Jayden Bogle returns to the bench. That's a welcome side as well. So too Adam Davis. Tommy Doyle comes into midfield. But the standout name there, fellas, is Reda Khadra, and we're told he will start at left wing back, Jack.
Yeah, it's a big day for him. It's a tough ask. I don't know if he's played in that position before, but I'm guessing the way Birmingham are going to set up, I think the gaffer's going to see him more as a winger and really pin them back. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Carl, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. The best way to defend is attack. You know, so they're going to be open. Khadra will be stretching them up and attacking them. But I think for us, Norrington Davis has been one of the standout players this season. You know, deputising it in Jack's position, he's been incredible. Last match, left wing back, he was wonderful, and I think that's given the manager confidence that, you know, he's not putting Khadra out there and then we're going to be exposed. That left-hand side and the centre with Egan, it's really strong, so it gives you a chance to experiment a little more down the left.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Rhys Norrington-Davies, because he's answered every question thrown at him in what was an unfamiliar position at the start of the season, Jack, and come through with glowing colours. This is another question today, because Reda is an attacking-minded player. You would think that perhaps he's, you know, as a defender, Rhys isn't going to get as much help as he might be used to.
Yeah, I think Rhys has made that position his own, and I think now he needs to help Khadra. I think Rhys has been helped by Eags and stuff like that. So I think it's time for him to step up and be that voice behind Khadra. So I think it'll be interesting. Yeah. And
just on Anel missing for several weeks, we assume now. How big a blow is that going to be, Carl?
It's a massive blow, and but it's a strength of our squad. You've got Baschenbauer coming in. You know, how incredible is that? We're actually Bashi is coming in to deputise. It's incredible, and he'll be wanting to get his match fitness up and to be making that position his own. You know, he's not playing these matches now thinking, well, I'm only going to play a few games until Anel's back. He's now going to play his best to try and get his form up and make that position his own. It's great competition in this squad.
Come on, Jack, you can let us in on a secret. Does Chris like that nickname?
Yeah, he loves it, the Baschenbauer. Yeah, he loves it.
Defends, score goals, assists, complete package.
He is, and like Carl said, he's an unbelievable replacement for Anel, isn't he? And you know, I know what Bashi's like, and he's going to want to stay there.
Absolutely, as anybody does in this team right now, because Sheffield United are on a roll. They're top of the division, and despite the international break, every player's chomping at the bit to get back out there and wear the red and white shirt of the Blades this afternoon. And that includes Norway's Sander Berg, who's been away with Norway on international duty for the last 2 weeks. 2 defeats with Norway, but he's looking forward to getting back to winning ways with Sheffield United. Sander, great to see you. Great to have you back with Sheffield United after a fortnight away on international duty. Good to have a break, or does the disappointment of the two results you got outweigh that?
Both yes and no, I would say. I mean, obviously it was nice to leave on a win against Preston and top of the table and on a winning streak. And then you bring in positive energy into the national team camp and you look forward. And it was two big games coming up for us. But unfortunately, we didn't get the results we needed and the performances. So, yeah, that's never a good feeling, especially when we're in a good position before those two games. But we'll learn from that, come back stronger, and we're looking forward to the qualification when that starts.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's back to Championship football week in, week out for the foreseeable future. Back at Bramall Lane for the first time in over a month. How do you and the rest of the lads feel about that?
We're always looking forward to come home and play in front of our own crowd. That's amazing, and we've been very, very solid at home. You know, it's a fortress for us with our fans behind us. So we always look forward, and it's been a long time now coming. But yeah, can't wait to get started again today, and yeah, and it's a big month coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps a big surprise for most fans as well to see Reda Kadra playing at left wing back today. What will he add to the team?
Oh, he has a lot of qualities. You know, he's fast, he's strong, and he's very offensive-minded. And you know, he can create overloads, and you know, he can get in on his good foot on his right and create triangles. And we know he will bring a lot to the team, and he's been waiting for this chance to start the game. So I know he will do well, and we can't wait to see him out there.
And just finally, what's the approach to this game? Because prior to the international break, Birmingham seems to find a little bit of form themselves as well.
Yes, every game in Championship, it's very tough. Every team is different, you know, the way they defend, the way they attack. And obviously, I guess since they come away to the top of the league, you know, they probably done a lot tactical this week, you know, to try to stop us from doing what we're good at. But we'll just do the same as always, and we obviously watch them, so we know what to bring. But it's creating a very good atmosphere, playing forward, you know, winning the ball back, and knowing that if we are at our best, it will always be a tough game for the opponent here at Bramall Lane.
Okay, Sander, well, as always, we appreciate the time. Go well today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good game. Thank you.
Sander Berg talking to me just before we came on air today, affording us a couple of minutes ahead of preparing for the visit of Birmingham City, who are in town, looking to take down Sheffield United's imperious 100% record, Carl Asaba. But Sander Berg, back in his familiar position, right side of the front three, talk to us about his importance in that.
Well, for me, he's one of my favourites. I think he's unplayable. When he's in the attacking role, I think he's just well, it's not that I think, he shows he is. His stats show it, the way he affects the match. I think Doyle has been wonderful for us. You know, he plays such great football, his positional sense, his understanding with Norwood, and it releases Sander. Sander can get further forward. You know, I get really frustrated on the radio when I see Sander in a defensive role, because I don't think he's used to his best, but I understand it's for the team. But for me, having Doyle come in alongside Norwood just releases Sander, and I think he's just next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite interesting as well, speaking to Sander there, Jack, when he brought up Reda Kadra, whilst we might think, okay, defensively, he's not going to be as strong, attacking minded is another problem for Birmingham, isn't he?
100%, yeah. I think that's what the gaffer's looking at. I think Birmingham are going to sit behind the ball and try and hit us on the counter, and I think the key for today will be the overloads. I think getting Kedra and Reece down that left-hand side and getting balls into the box will be the key today.
Well, we'll find out in due course. We have just under 45 minutes to go to kick off here at Bramall Lane for Sheffield United taking on Birmingham City in the Championship. A reminder, of course, that 2 weeks ago it was an away day at Preston North End.
Norwood forward, Brewster onto this one and takes it earlier in. Brewster. Baldock into the penalty area. McBurney, brilliant block by Lindsay. It's a lovely ball into McBurney. And it goes from Norwood, fisted away by Freddie Woodman. Crossfield from Norwood, looking for McBurney. Can Brewster get onto this one? Whiteman, Dalid, chance for Njayi. Illiman, Njayi. Njayi, brilliant! United take the lead. Njayi for the Blades. His fifth of the campaign. They've had to soak up a bit of pressure in this first half. With 5 minutes to go to the break, it's United who are in front. Berger's into the box here. Chance here, great save by Woodman. And Jai thought he might have had a second, and it's fired over the top by Norwood. There's a half-time whistle. Jai, McBurney, Brewster. Norwood's corner, Woodman fists it clear. Good punch. There was a miscontrol this time by Hughes. You don't want to give it to Sander Berger. Berger maybe just overrun it, but it's in the end. And Ollie McBurney celebrates in front of the Sheffield United fans. He's into the Sheffield United fans. United have a second goal. McBurney is claiming it. United are 2 in front. And it's the cushion that the Blades really wanted in this second half. And they finished the job. Norrington Davis here for United. Norrington Davis. Here comes this free kick from Doyle. Sharp gets it back into the mix. Now Johnson. Brown in the box. Brown with a strike. Wonderful save from Wes Fodringham.
2-0 it finished, 3 points for the Blades, and you can see by these pictures here how much it meant to Paul Heckingbottom, Jack and the rest of the lads, because I think coming into this game, Preston had something like 5 goalless draws. They were a difficult team to break down, and it was a fairly professional job by Sheffield United. That's
the word, professional. I think it was a very professional performance away from home, and I said before, we always struggle going to Preston in the past. They're a tough team, especially at home, and good to see Ollie Mack back on the score sheet as well.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Ollie McBurney, first of all, with you, Carl, because you were his biggest champion over the course of last season. It didn't go his way. He's obviously put a lot of work in the off-season, and it showed in his performances.
Yeah, but I've been a massive fan of his, but I felt last season his job description was different. I think he was being asked to link the play up. He wasn't, the focal point for his game wasn't goals, you know, and he was coming off the pitch not scoring, and he looked happy. And that for me was strange, and I'm thinking, well, he's not being asked just to score, because if I was coming off, I'd be fuming I hadn't scored. But his character showed he was happy with what he'd done, because he was doing a job for the team. This season he's been a completely different proposition. He's a goal threat. This goal here, when he's come in, he would have looked to lay that off last season. You know,
that's confidence, isn't it?
It's confidence. He's scored. He's looked sharp every time, and it's as though he really wants to score now. And you know, the fans are just adoring him. It's brilliant. And the one thing we didn't pick up on in the Preston match, or on the VT there, was the connection between the fans and the players. The fans were incredible away at Preston. They were with the players every minute. When it went quiet, when there were lulls, the fans picked them up with the cheering, and the connection between the fans and players is brilliant.
Jack, Carl there spoke about the subtle change in what Ollie's been asked to do this season, the role he's been playing as the spearhead for Illiman and Sander to play off him. We've spoken to him a couple of times on the show already this season. He seems a more relaxed, happy individual. You're seeing him day in, day out. Is that what you're seeing as well? Yeah,
I mean, I'm quite close to Ollie as well, to be fair, and we've done a lot of work when he was injured in Portugal, and the one thing I would say, he does work really hard, and especially this season and in the off-season, but I think I'll bring so much more than goals, but I think you get judged on scoring goals, and he's doing both now.
It says a lot about the character of the individual, isn't it? Because it wasn't an easy last 12 months for him.
It wasn't, and I think the gaffers obviously worked with him before at Barnsley, and spoke to him in the off-season, and he's really got his head down and kind of changed the way he's been living, and I think it's showing on the pitch.
Absolutely, it has, and as a result of that, he's been named Sheffield United's Player of the Month for September. 3 goals in his last 4 games, if you include the goal he scored against Luton at the back end of August as well. We dearly love him to add to that tally against Birmingham City this afternoon. When they met on the opening day of last season here, Birmingham spoiled the party, but the Blades avenged that in the return fixture down at Birmingham last season.
This one is off and running as United look to close the gap on the playoff places. Here comes the corner from Fleck once more. Etheridge comes out, gets something on it. Njai wrestles with Mengi. Njai's going to get to this, and he's into the penalty area. Njai goes down. Surely that could be a penalty. The referee, Keith Stroud, looking right down the barrel, says no. Now Woods has time to measure the cross. Out comes Fodringham, and he didn't really get there, and it's still alive in the penalty area. There's Basham for United, flicked on by Fleck. Might come down here for Sharp, tight angle. Here's Berger now. Finds John Fleck. Fleck with a strike. Takes a deflection. That is a fantastic block. And Njai in a bit of space here. It's open up for him. Njai. The pass is good as well into Lyle Taylor. Taylor in the box. Taylor scores. Breakthrough for Birmingham City. And the former Blade, Lyle Taylor, takes his opportunity. 2-in-2 for him. And the Blades are behind at St Andrews. Gardner cuts it back. Hogan was waiting. Might come for Bakuna. Sander Berger. Looks for Billy Sharp. Chance for United. And Billy Sharp levels. Brilliant play by Berger. And Billy Sharp sweeps home his 10th of the campaign. And United are quickly on level terms. Njai up against Roberts. Njai lays it off. Fleck arriving. That was a chance. Into Njai. Now Nord. Great football by United. Here's John Fleck. Here's Jayden Bogle. Jayden Bogle. United in front. Scintillating play from the Blades. Here's Billy Sharp. Might be a third for United here. Billy Sharp. Berger. Deflected. Yes. United close within 3 points of the playoff positions.
You hear it in the stands. You see it in your feed. It's waiting for you at practice. We've been fighting it for years, standing up to it. And still, it hangs around like a bad smell. But together, we can put an end to it. It's time to tell it. Oi, listen up. We belong here. And we can run rings around you. We're not sorry for who we are. Let's tell it where to go. Discrimination, let's kick it out.
Now, today marks the start of Black History Month. And over the years, Sheffield United have had a number of players represent them from both black and ethnically diverse backgrounds. Well, leading into October, Kick It Out's Troy Townsend sat down with Blades trio Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, Wes Fodringham and Rhiann Brewster to discuss their experiences.
What were your first memories of playing football and who that social circle was?
I remember just playing in the playground, you know. Used to do like my side of the year versus the other side of the year. In my year, like my side of the year, there was all different types of races, and you know, we just all love football. So we used to just go and take that side of the playground and play one big match, and it was not black people all together, white people are on the same team. It was just mixed, and that's what I mean. Football, I think football brings that.
Who used to win?
What side of the
year?
Majority,
yeah.
Man, come on, man, my side, man.
I'm just asking, just putting it out there, just in case.
No,
Never lost at all.
When I went there.
What about you, Wes? First memories of football, playing the game?
So my primary school, the end of the primary school, so it was year 5 against year 6. So when I was in year 5, we'd play the year 6s. And I used to play on pitch. Like, Rhiann's gonna start laughing now. I used to play on pitch, but I was good. I was the best in my year on pitch.
Where did you used to play?
We don't play everywhere. Just run about.
Just do a bit.
So, we used to play then, and I was an emotional kid, like, just didn't really have, like, control of my emotions. And when we used to lose, I'd cry. And I'd just go into a lesson, just cry. I'd cry instantly if we lost, every time. I'd cry.
You still do that now?
He still
does it now.
I'd cry.
Look at these two laughing at you.
No, honestly, I'd cry anytime we lost. But no, just sort of even growing up past that, you sort of get a group of friends, and the first thing you do is you play football. It doesn't cost any money. You get a ball, you go on the street and you play.
What was yours like, Courtney?
On the estate, for sure. And again, there's probably a bit of a stigma attached to that as well. Yeah, again, it was a similar thing as a ball cost nothing, didn't grow up with, that never went without, but equally didn't have a lot. And yeah, it was always a mixture of everyone on the estate that would come out and football. And again, it was the same through school. I think football is one of those, you know, it's a microcosm of society, isn't it? So it brings everyone together, and sort of you forget you know, whatever's going on in your life for however long you're playing, whether it's now it's a bit different, it's the 90 minutes, but you know, however long you was out for, you just forgot because you were playing.
Whereas yours is a particular case because you're a goalkeeper who's going to hear all the abuse, by the way, anyway, because you just can't ignore it, can you?
Yeah.
So is it still an issue?
Yeah, it is still an issue, massive issue. But my experience is from in-game. This is when I was in Scotland. I think the player had a shot. It's gone out for a goal kick. I've like jumped over to obviously see it go over. I was sort of hanging on the bar, you know where this one's going.
Yeah.
And I've heard a shout from the crowd, "You black monkey," and I was like, "Whoa!" But I wasn't sure.
Right.
I heard it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was that shocked. I was thinking, surely he's not said that.
That's what I was going to say to you. What is that instant? I wasn't sure.
I
Because
was-
you just said you heard it.
Because it was that outrageous that I
Yeah.
thought, there's no way he's just shouted that out. So I thought, the game was on Sky as well. So I thought just carry on with the game, like maybe I've heard wrong. And then it wasn't until after the game that a fan from that team DM'd me on Instagram, apologising, because it was the fan that was sat next to him, apologising for him, basically for what he said he doesn't represent all the fans at this football club. And yeah, if you're affected, like, I'm just want to apologise on his behalf.
Talk to me about one of your experiences and how it made you feel.
Yeah, we were winning. This was when I was playing under-19 Champions League. It was against Sevilla, and I was angry. I think I lost the ball or something. I was angry. I just chased him down, left one on him a little bit, and on the floor now. We're both on the floor, and I heard something. I thought, what? Nah. Are my ears deceiving me, or did I? And I said, say that again, and then he said it again, and then yeah, I just lost my head completely. Went to walk off the pitch. At the time, Gerard was the manager, and obviously I think he realised what had happened, because he just said, "Rian, like, do you want to come off the pitch? If you do, I'll back you fully. If you want to stay on, I'll back you fully." And yeah, he was really good with me. I ended up staying on the pitch. Told the ref.
Why did you want to walk off then? At that moment, can you remember?
Yeah, because I just wanted to smash his face in.
So you're protecting yourself?
Yeah.
Sheffield United trio, Wes Fodringham, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk and Rhian Brewster speaking to Kick It Out's Troy Townsend there at the start of Black History Month. How disturbing is it, Carl, when you hear Wes and Rhian particularly discussing their experiences in football in this modern day and age when awareness has never been greater, that they're still being subjected to abuse like that?
Yeah, I think that's the really disappointing bit. There's so much effort going in from all the clubs around the country, and there's so many appeals or you know, ways to try and encourage people and to educate people against it, that it's still happening. And you can only commend the work that's going in local communities to try and educate people.
Jack, you've been out there on the pitch, you've been with your teammates, and even in sell-out crowds in the Premier League, I guess there are one or two things that do still clearly carry to the players.
Yeah, I mean, and it's disgusting listening to my teammates there that they've been through that, but I think it's unfortunate that we're still having this conversation in 2022, and I think Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, I watched the full video yesterday, I think she hit the nail on the head. I think we need to educate the younger generation.
And the awareness is clearly there because, as we heard from Wes, he received a social media message from a fan sat next to the fan abusing him. Where do you go with it? Because there's only so much you can do to educate people, but it's clearly still going to be some idiots in the crowd that think it's all right.
Yeah, well, the fact that the person's been identified by a person who's sitting alongside him, then it's down to the club to take further action. You know, you can educate only so far, then you've got to take action and stick by it.
And as a senior player in the team, if you've got somebody like Rhian that's obviously finding it hard, as he did in that example that he discussed with Troy there, what can you do as a teammate, as a friend, as a player?
Put your arm around him and obviously support him in whatever decision he wants to make. I spoke about wanting to walk off the pitch. I don't think he did in the end, but if that's what he wanted to do, then I think as a club and every single teammate would support him in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the start of Black History Month. Sheffield United are marking it today with a splash in their programme. All the players from both Birmingham City and Sheffield United are wearing shirts in the warm-up today, highlighting key players that have been part of their clubs and highlighting the cause of Black History Month going forward. And of course, this is a busy month on the pitch for Championship sides. For Sheffield United, no less than 7 games coming up. It starts today with the home game against Birmingham City, but there's no rest after it because Sheffield United are back in action this Tuesday evening at home to Queen's Park Rangers. A 7:45 kickoff for that one. SUTV Live will be on air from 7 p.m. Okay, let's take another look at the team news for the Blades coming into this game. From a 2-week layoff due to international call-ups, Sheffield United do make a couple of changes. One enforced, no Anel Amahodic today. He's out injured. So that means that we get Rhys Norrington-Davis back in his position as part of a 3 at the back. But Reda Khadra takes his second start in a Blades jersey, chaps, at left wing-back. Is that the most exciting aspect of that team sheet that you see there?
I'm excited to see how he does, yeah. I mean, I think he's very good going forward. It'll be interesting to see how he does defensively, but I'm excited to see him down the left with the overloads and putting balls into the box.
And I know, Carl, you've been really excited by what you've seen of Jayden Bogle last season. The club put out social media footage of him on the training ground this week, and he takes his place on the bench today.
Yeah, I'm delighted with that. You know, last season he blew me away. We saw the goal he scored away at Birmingham last year, and that first touch was ridiculous. You know, and that was after the Reading match. He scored away at Reading, and his performances up until his injury were astounding. So he's got his work cut out to get back in the team. You know, Baldock's been wonderful this season. He's been an attacking threat, even when he hasn't got the ball. Baldock makes overloads and overlaps, and he distracts people, and he's been brilliant. And it's, you know, Bogle's going to have to be on his best to get back in this team, which is brilliant for us.
I suppose, Jack, that's the beauty of this team at the moment. There is competition in all areas of the pitch, and from Jayden's perspective, he was flying when he picked up that season-ending injury back in January.
Yeah, it was disappointing for him, and obviously I've been there with him for the past 7 months or so, and you know, you lean on each other when you're having your bad days and stuff, but I've seen how hard he's worked, and to see him back on the bench is unbelievable. Let's
take a look at some of the stats for Jayden Bogle, because there was a case to be made last season that when he got injured, he was perhaps the club's most improved player, wasn't he?
He was outstanding. You know, I've been making a big effort on the radio telling people to get to the ground to watch some of these players, because it's not just a good team performance, the actual individuals' attributes. Bogle and last year, Gibbs-White, the way these players are playing, they're fantastic. You know, you can learn so much just watching them. They're doing stuff I could never do. You know, Njai controls the ball with parts of his foot I don't even walk on. You know, he's incredible, and just getting to the ground to watch him. The Bogle as well, you know, their footwork, how quick they are with the ball, it's brilliant to watch.
And he scored 6 goals in 43 games, effectively a season's tally for you, Carl.
Well, 3 or 4 seasons. Always comes back to overtake on me.
We said we'd be kind to you today.
But he was wonderful, and he was and as was Max Lowe. You know, they're wing backs, they're scoring goals, but just being an attacking presence distracts their defence. You know, it's another person for them to worry about, and I think that's what they're going to have today with Khadra. I think it's going to be get forward, the team will pivot around, Baldock will drop, you know, more as a flat back 4, I feel, and just let Khadra have his chance to go up, because that'll be frightening if he does attack really well down the left.
Yeah, and just one serious note, talking about Jayden Bogle's form, of those 43 appearances, it probably appeared 20 times before he settled in at right wing back last season.
Yeah, it took him time to settle in, like it does most players in this system, because it's quite unique, but once he got to grips with it, he's unstoppable. I mean, that goal that Carl speaks about against Birmingham, that touch was Premier League level.
Yeah, absolutely was. And of course, the good start to the season has been founded on a strong defence as well for the Blades, and most notably with the return to fitness and form of Chris Basham, the relationship he struck up with Anel Amahodic over the course of the first quarter of this season, I suppose highlights even more, chaps, that it's a blow losing Anel now.
Massive blow. I mean, he's been a fresh breath air since he's come in. Really took that position as own, and I mean, you look at these clips here, he's been in unbelievable form, and it's a shame that he's got an injury, but hopefully he'll come back even better and stronger.
And the beauty about it is as well, you know, we always said Bash would weigh in with a few goals over the course of the season. Well, when he was out injured, Anel was doing that as well.
Yeah, and defending brilliantly. Yeah. You know, it's not that we're forsaking one part of his game for the other. He's brilliant at everything. He seems to have fitted in immediately with the lads. They all, you know, I saw him taking the mick out of him, thinking he's the best at FIFA. He's straight in there, and that's credit to the recruitment. It's a credit to Jack. You know, he's had such a relationship with the boy away from the club that the boy wanted to come here because he knew that the staff would work with him, and everything is really rosy at the club. Everything's going the right direction.
And it seems that the right time to ask you, Jack, as well, about the team spirit, because there's the potential there with Anel playing well and Bash getting fit but not being able to break into the starting 11 for perhaps some friction, but credit to Bash, relished the challenge, took it on, and then you had a scenario in the last month or so where they're playing side by side and opponents can't find a way past them.
Yeah, that's Bashi. Bashi's never going to sulk or cause any friction, and I think that's a credit to the gaffer, the culture he's built at the club. Since he's come in, everyone's just together, and you can really feel it when you're inside the club as well.
Carl, we said at the start of the season that Hecky recruited well and it boded well going forward. It's one thing to say that and look at the names on paper, but to see the way this team's meshed together through all the injuries that we've talked about as well, it's a credit to the coaching job.
I think the job he's done, I think last January was an incredible window. He didn't get all the players in he wanted, but the way he got certain players away from the club so he could focus on who he wanted, even when we were threadbare, to have the conviction and the courage to say, well, I'm willing to go a few players less just to make sure I can focus on the players that are right for this club, has been incredible. The recruitment's been brilliant, and I've got friends now I used to play with who have children at top level clubs, and they're ringing me saying, I want my boy to come here on loan. What's this person like? And that's credit to the staff. This is a great environment to play football. People are coming on loan and making 25-30 million pound transfers after coming here. So it's a great environment. Credit to the staff and credit to the players because they're working their socks off and putting in the performances.
Yeah, and the message we hear time and time again from Paul Heckingbottom is no room for complacency, no matter how good the position appears to be in that you find yourselves. With that in mind then, I'm going to ask both of you, how much of a gamble is it playing Redder at left wing back today, positioned that, as far as I'm aware, he's not played before?
I'm not sure. I think obviously he's never played there before and he's not naturally a defender, but I think playing at home in front of these fans, I think he's just going to go all guns blazing and try and get forward, really.
Does that give you a little bit more leeway, the fact that the Blades are playing at home, that you can take an extra risk if you like?
Well, I think he's got free rein today. I don't think whatever he does today, he can be at fault. It's not his position. He can only add to the squad today. He's been asked to play a position he's never played. It's unnatural to him. Just get forward and create mayhem. And if you can create mayhem in their box, we haven't got to worry about defending. So the manager, he knows the boy inside out. He trains with him every day. He wouldn't be playing him there if he didn't believe in him. And it's the manager's job on the line, isn't it? He's the one who's affected if we lose. So I completely believe this is going to be a good lineup for us.
And I suppose to some extent as well, circumstances dictate what you can and cannot do, especially when, as you say, Jack, in the treatment room, there's 7 left-footers sat there. You can only have a squad that's so deep in any one position. OK, well, that's a problem for Birmingham City to deal with and find a way around themselves. Let's take a look at the 11 players that are starting for the Blades opponents this afternoon then. They are on a good run going into the international break. They do make one change, though, to the starting 11 that you can see there from the team that drew 0-0 with Coventry last time out. Josh Williams is the man to make way. On loan, left-sided player Emmanuel Longello comes in for his Birmingham debut. Jack O'Connell, what do you know about him?
Not much, to be honest. I know it's his league debut, but I think he's going to play left wing back, and I think it's going to be a tough ask for him against Arfrey, Sander, George and Bashi. I think, yeah, it's going to be a tough afternoon, and hopefully it is.
I was doing some frantic research before we came on air, Carl, because I'd never heard of Longello, and he's played one Europa League game for West Ham in December last year. That was a 1-0 defeat to Dynamo Kiev. The year before that, he played in a 5-1 September League Cup win over Hull City, and that is the sum total of his first team experience with West Ham. So to be plunged into the starting 11 in this sort of atmosphere, questions are going to be asked.
Yeah, but again, the head coach is a former teammate of mine, John Eustace. I got on really well with him. He's really pragmatic. He trains hard. He looks into the boys' mental attributes. This is a huge match to make a league debut away at Bramall Lane, at the top of the league. Eustace must really believe in the lads. So I've been at the other side a bit more wary that this boy must be special. So I think we need to be a bit wary of him.
Well, as you bring up the head coach at Birmingham, John Eustace, let's take a look at his managerial stats over the last few years, because he started out at Kidderminster Harriers in the National League, had 7 games as caretaker boss of Queen's Park Rangers before taking over the reins at Birmingham City earlier this season. By and large, that success rate of 49.6 is based on his time at Kidderminster. Birmingham, we know what happened with them last season. Lee Bowyer left in the summer, that's a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
It's a huge job he's got on here. I know he did he did really well at QPR, and he's involved with is it Northern Ireland as well. He's really highly thought of, and he's had some great managers to learn off. You know, he was with me at Stoke under Pulis, and he's will have picked up the pragmatic nature. He'd go through everything every day. The pattern will be really strong, so they're going to be rigid and hard to break down. It's about just imposing our tempo, because they're going to be quite tough.
Just 3 wins for Birmingham so far this season, Jack. There's been a lot of turmoil behind the scenes off the pitch there. As your first proper league job, because, like I said, it's caretaker at QPR, it's a baptism of fire.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bramall Lane, for us, is a tough place to come, but I think since he's been there, they do look more organised and harder to break down. So I think for us, we need to move it a bit quick, and hopefully we can punish them.
And he's got senior players in. There's a lot of, you know, Troy Dean. There's some big senior players, a keeper, who've been there and they've played in high intense atmospheres. So he's got some people he can depend on the pitch. You know, so he's got a good squad about him.
Yeah, and his impact is perhaps being felt as well, because as we say, leading into the international break, they were 3 unbeaten. We can look at the recent form for Birmingham City now. Wins away at Preston, which we've already said we felt was impressive, and away at West Bromwich Albion. Surprised that those wins come on the road?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I played with Scotty Hogan as well, and when I'm looking at that West Brom game, him coming back off the back of a hat-trick, once he smells goals, he can score and he can go on a run. So we need to be wary of Scotty today, definitely.
And also playing at home, the Birmingham fans, when things aren't going well, it is a hard environment, and sometimes the players will be seeing the away match as a bit of pressure off. You know, the expectancy is not there and they can express themselves, and they will have built the confidence up away from home. So that's what he'll be building on now, just saying, look, you're away at the top of the league, no one expects you to do anything, there's no pressure.
Do you feel like it suits them playing away from home better?
Completely, and I think this match is set up for them perfectly, because they've got senior players and young kids making their senior debut here. There is no pressure, you know, so they're on a no-lose. They're expected to lose. So if they get anything from this, you know, they've done great.
Given what you've both just said there, is this potentially a trap game then for the Blades?
Yeah, I think so, because the system they play, it does suit them away from home better. You know, hitting us on the counter-attack with Troy Deeney dropping into the pocket, and then Scotty running in behind. So yeah, potentially, yeah.
Every game now, when you're top of the league and you're Sheffield United, teams raise their performances, and it's genuine that they do that. These players at lower clubs will want to be impressing against Sheffield United, because they'll be thinking of their own careers, that, well, a scout could be watching Sander Berg. If I play well here, he might see me and mine. So you've got to remember, every match now, these boys are attracting such attention. Other players are, you know, they're playing against the top of the league. You want to prove that you're better than them. And Championship, it's easier. Players can do it once in a blue moon. Premiership, they do it every match. We just got to make sure that it doesn't happen against us.
Yeah, absolutely. It won't come as a surprise that perhaps there won't be too many familiar names and faces in the Birmingham City lineup, but we've picked out 4 or 5 to watch coming into this game. You already mentioned Scotty Hogan there, Jack, a hat-trick. He's their top scorer with 5 goals this season, but outside of him, I think they've only had 2 players in the league that have found the back of the net. What do you know about some of those players?
I mean, Chong is come from Man United. I think he's a sound footballer, like technically very good, but I think he's scored 1 in 23, so they are lacking in goals. And I think Bakuna, I think he's the one that's got that magic Premier League experience, but I think defensively there's questions to be asked for him as well.
Jack mentions Bakuna there. He's going to play in that pocket behind the front two, we'd imagine, today.
Yeah, and that'll be difficult, you know, because that's where Ollie Norwood is, and I just hope he doesn't sit on Norwood and sort of stifle his creativity.
OK, let's hear more from the Sheffield United camp coming into this game. Earlier this week, we caught up with Billy Sharp, unsurprisingly keen to get his take on the resurgent form of Ollie McBurney.
When you can't get the ball in the net, it gets harder and harder, and once the one goes in, they've started to come now. And I think his first one was the one that he was wanting against Luton, the one that no time to think, and it's an instinct thing. And after that is, you know, he scored from outside the box, which me and him don't usually do. So he's got an header, and obviously
got a tap in the last game, so he's feeling confident now, and obviously his all-round game as well, as he can concentrate on that and not just think about the goals, because the goals have started to flow. And like I say, Illiman is a breath of fresh air. Really, he's one person individually who has got, his consistency's been key this season, because I think last season he was probably a little bit flaky. One week he was unplayable, then the next he was not quite at it. But this season his performance has been 8 and 9 out of 10. So, and he's in good form as well. So yeah, the lads who are up top at the minute are in form, and they're winning us football matches.
And the form of the likes of Illiman and Jai and Ollie McBurney means that head coach Paul Heckingbottom has a real luxury now of being able to have the experience of club captain Billy Sharp on the bench to change games as and when he needs to. On the pitch, at the back, he's got the experience of John Egan, who over the last fortnight became the player to win most international caps whilst playing at Sheffield United, a fact that he wasn't aware of when we caught up with him in this SUTV Live exclusive.
Yeah, I was unaware of that till now, so yeah, it's a surprising one, but obviously it's a proud moment every time I play for Ireland, and playing for Sheffield United has helped me to do that. So yeah, delighted, delighted to be the record holder.
Well, you're on 26. You beat your mate Enda Stevens, who's still on 25. Another Irishman from well back in the day, Billy Gillespie's on 25, and Peter Unlove's on 25. So you can stretch that a little bit as well, can't you?
Yeah, listen, doing the business at club level leads to international call-ups and recognition. So, coming to Sheffield United, just over 4 years ago has helped me to kick on with the international team as well. So yeah, I owe a lot of that to Sheffield United.
And whilst on international duty, you've been doing bits, a couple of goals in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, first one bittersweet because we lost the game, but always delighted to score. And then the second, the second one we managed to get the win. So yeah, 2 goals in 2 games is very pleasing. Scoring for your country is special, and hopefully I can score a few for the Blades now.
I don't know how Hecky will feel about it, because you've not been too far, you've not travelled around the globe, but you have played 180 minutes. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously stiff. Travelling takes it out of you, but I'm sure it'll be a down day today. Get the legs ready for the weekend, because we're into another hectic schedule, and you have to recover well and try get the body right for the games.
As you mentioned, that you form at club level gets you international minutes. It's not just for you as well, is it? There's been quite a few players being away on international duty this week.
Yeah, and it's a good sign. I think it shows the quality we have in the group. For that many players to be going away playing international football can only benefit the individuals and the club. It's a really high standard, high level of football, and it's good that we have so many players playing internationally.
And am I right in thinking on the next international break you play Sanderberg's Norway?
Yeah, that's the next one on the list for us. So I think he's looking forward to coming to Dublin. But we've a lot of business to try and do between then for Sheffield United.
Everybody looks forward to going to Dublin.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm obviously biased towards Cork, but yeah, Dublin is good as well.
A wry smile crosses the face of John Egan when you mention that match against teammate Sander Berger. But Jack O'Connell, you've played alongside John many times for the Blades. What does he bring at the back and then at set pieces as well?
Yeah, he's so consistent, and he's a rock at the back, and obviously a threat at set pieces, like you can see there. But the one thing I'd say about Eags is he's so consistent, and I think it's important to be consistent in that position, and he's a natural leader as well.
We saw during the international break he got on the score sheet twice for the Republic of Ireland. Carl, it's invaluable, isn't it, to have a central defender that can be a threat at set pieces, as well as being good at his regular day-to-day job at the back?
Of course, it's a massive bonus. We saw him score 2 away at Hull last year, and I just think his performances this season have been incredible. Top level, much better consistency than last season, where he was still solid. But this season, I feel he's at least 1 or 2 points higher each match. I think he's been wonderful.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of his statistics then coming into this game, because 26 international caps whilst at a Blade now beats the previous mark set by Billy Gillespie, Enda Stevens, who's still playing, of course, here, and Peter Unlove, who've all won 25 caps as a Blade. 28 in total and 3 goals there as well. That experience at this level especially is invaluable when you're out there week in, week out.
100%, yeah. And first of all, it's a fantastic achievement for Eag on a personal note. But yeah, I think we're going to need his experience today, definitely.
How important is he to this team, Carl?
I think he's massive. He calms them down. He plays football, really good football. And he's there always to encourage at the right times. You know, if you see someone's heads go down, he's there. And just the way he performs, he lifts the team by his own performances.
Well, we've got 8 minutes to go to kick off. Birmingham City are in town today, and judging by the PA system that has just ramped up behind me, the excitement is building in the stadium as well. In a moment, we're going to let you go and take your position in the commentary box, Carl, but we can't let you go without asking you what your thoughts are on this game and how you think it'll go.
I think it's going to be hard for Birmingham. I think we'll win by 2 or 3.
Confident?
Very confident.
Another clean sheet?
Well, we're top of the league, we're flying, and we've got a great defence. 2 or 3, we'll win.
See, we've got a smile back on the face of Carl Asaba. He's confident, the team is confident. We'll let you go now. Carl, thanks for your time, and we can hear from the manager, Paul Heckingbottom, ahead of today's encounter with Birmingham City.
Yeah, keep it going. I say all the time, we don't get any more points home or away. We just want to win games, so every game we're the same in terms we want to try and win it. We have different challenges at home sometimes, definitely. And like I think certainly this game we're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to be really switched on to them on the counter. Their first thought, their first pass being forward, Hogan running behind. Listen, I'm guessing, but preparing for everything, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we may have to be the ones trying to force the pace of the game, stop them slowing it down, these type of things. But I think one thing we have done well, and I said to the players just this morning, is we try and prepare for whatever may be thrown at us. So while I'm saying this thing, they may decide to come and step right against us and stop us playing and make it. Well, they know what we face that as well, and we know how we want to deal with that. So we prepare for everything, so we're not too one-dimensional. But I think at home we have to be prepared for teams to slow it down and make it difficult and try and frustrate. So that's been the message.
The thoughts of manager Paul Heckingbottom ahead of today's clash. 6 minutes away from kickoff here at Bramall Lane. The Blades taking on Birmingham City. And a reminder, you can see the details there at the bottom of your screen. Go to the club's website, sufc.co.uk, to find out about all the match regulations and broadcasting regulations before buying a match pass to see today's game. Jack O'Connell, you're still alongside me in the studio. Good crowd, good atmosphere inside the stadium. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've seen the Blades back here? Over a month.
It has. I'm excited. Nerves are building, but can't wait to see the lads go out and perform.
Have you talked about it in the dressing room, the fact that it has been the back end of August since you last played here at Bramall Lane?
No, not really. I think the lads are just getting back in the building a couple of days ago from the international break, and I think they're just looking forward to getting out there now.
What's the key then against this Birmingham City side? Because they can easily be overlooked given they're 17th in the Championship table coming into today's game. But they are a gritty side, as we've seen leading into the international break. They're more than capable of causing an upset.
Definitely, no game in the Championship's easy. They're gonna give us a tough task, but I think we just go out there front foot and all guns blazing, and I think the key is going to be overloads today.
And I think it's worth pointing out as well, as we look at scenes from inside the stadium of an expectant Blades faithful, that of course it was the opening weekend last year when everyone expected the Blades to get the season up and running, and we suffered a bit of a jolt.
Yeah, Maxime, ex-teammate of mine, scored a back post header, so we need to be wary, but I think we're in a much better place now.
And we've seen over the last couple of games as well, that intensity from the first whistle getting into opponents. If you get up on the front foot, it does give us an advantage.
100%, yeah, especially at Bramall Lane in front of these fans, but I think like in any game, I think the first goal is important, so if we get that, I think we should be okay.
And what about this back three? Because Reece, Bash, John all know each other well enough, but haven't played together as a back three too many times this season. Is that a problem, or do we see just familiarity on the training field and everybody knows where they're at?
I mean, you would think it would be with them not playing week in, week out with each other, but you see the clean sheet they've kept, so it doesn't seem to be a problem. So I think no, all three of them are solid.
It's easy to overlook the role of the keeper here as well, isn't it, Wes Fodringham, because he's the man keeping clean sheets, but in amongst this 4-game run, he's pulled out some great saves.
Yeah, I mean, we'd like him not to make any saves, but I mean, when he's been called upon, he's been unbelievable. I think, obviously, following on from last year, he's followed his form on.
And how much confidence does the team as a whole get from knowing that you do have goal-scoring threats from anywhere on the field right now?
It's so good, especially when you've got Ollie in form and Illy, who can commit plays the way he does. I mean, it's so exciting to watch.
Is there a competition between some of the lads?
I'm sure there will be, yeah, but it's a healthy competition.
And if you're John Eustace as well, we spoke about him being inexperienced at this level. You look at the Blades right now and you've got to prepare for the physicality of Ollie McBurney, you've got the trickery of Iliman and Jai and the ball carrying skills of Sander Berger. It's quite the dilemma.
It's a tough task for any team to come here, but I think he's got nothing to lose. He's coming to play against top of the league at Bramall Lane, so I think he'll be looking on to score an upset.
Right, we're closing in on kick-off, so how do you see it going? What's your prediction, Jack?
Comfortable win, 3-0 for me.
Comfortable win, 3-0. Carl Asaba said it would be 2 or 3 as well. Let's hope they're right. The players are in the tunnel about to take to the pitch. We're back in the Championship following a 2-week sabbatical with the international break. Let's hand you over to the match commentary team of Carl Asaba. But first of all, Matt Young.
Thank you, Richard. 11 games in 42 days starts here at home to Birmingham City as the Sky Bet Championship restarts following the international break. A crucial block of games before the World Cup is set to test the stamina and depth of every squad in the EFL, with Paul Hagibottom's Blades aiming to maintain the phenomenal standards which have seen them lead the Sky Bet Championship. A home doubleheader starts against the Blues as United look to pick up from where they left off following an exceptional opening 2 months of the campaign. The teams are out. Carl Asaba is alongside me, and whilst Paul Higginbottom might have 1 or 2 headaches in terms of injuries on the pitch, he's been doing the business so far.
Yeah, he'd be really excited to get the boys back out, especially at home, just because the team were doing so well. You know, the momentum was with us. We were scoring goals, conceding very few and looking solid, so he'll be delighted that the campaign gets back underway.
A lot of games coming up, a lot of games before the World Cup. 1 or 2 starting to come back. It'd be nice to get a few more, won't it, over the next few weeks?
Yeah, exactly. And you've got to remember we've got Billy Sharp on the bench now. He'd be desperate to get on. And that competition for places is wonderful. You know, the manager would be happy that the players are starting to drip feed back onto the bench, onto the squad now.
You've been playing for Sheffield United in a side that's been at the top end of this division. What's it like when you're in and around